As I've been digging into the Bionicle Mask Game in my deep dive series on the channel, taking a look at how it has steered the franchise over time, one thing that I noted was in 2002, the Bohrok sets that were released were basically designed to completely upend this game. And so when 2003 rolled around, LEGO had to do something different. Obviously, we got the Roxy sets, which we will be taking a look at in the future, but another choice that LEGO made was a pretty unfortunate one, in my opinion. The release of the Bohrok Kal, which I think was honestly kind of just a money grab, let's be honest. Now, it's clear that they were trying to reduce their budget at this point in time in Bionicle. Bionicle was a fairly expensive toy to create. 2001 and 2002 were pretty successful for LEGO, so they didn't need to pour quite as much investment into the brand because, well, they had other plans for other themes going forward. With that said, though, my name is Skybird, and in today's video, I want to show you a mock that I made that I would use to replace the Bohrok Kal in Bionicle's history. So if you enjoyed this type of content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and gets us that much closer to 3,000. Without further ado, I'm presenting you the Jawlok, this build right here. Now, this is a slight modification on a build that I actually made a couple of years ago, and I really love it. Now, I built it for the sake of this video to look a little bit more like the Bohrok Kal, obviously featuring more of the silver, featuring the same legs and arms, as well as the Bohrok Kal windscreen, because in this case here, this contains all of the pieces to make a Bohrok Kal, or at the very least, it doesn't include a couple of pieces, but they are pieces that you would have widely in your collection if you were somebody who collected Bohrok, like one more of these geared lift arms. Now, if LEGO was going to make this set, let's be realistic, it would not look like this. It would not have this many pieces. This is near 90 pieces. It's just too many for a canister set from LEGO. And also, there are some pieces here that are just wholeheartedly, unabashedly Technic pieces, not specialized Technic pieces like Bionicle often used, where they would create their own pieces that fit in with Technic, but were not on their own Technic pieces. This right here contains Technic lift arms, Technic connectors of various different kinds in order to make the functionality of this set work. And oh, the functionality. Let me go ahead and show you that right now. I'm going to move one of the arms out of the way just so that it doesn't block anything going on here. But when pushing the lever on the back of the model, the head is going to go forward. You can see these Bohrok eyes on here. I have to make this out of existing pieces. LEGO absolutely would make some of their own custom pieces for something like this to work, but bear with me for a moment. As the mouth goes forward, it opens until eventually it slides over the bar on the front. But what makes this even better is that this is a sort of kinetic force. What do I mean by that? Well, as we have looked into the LEGO Bionicle game, the Mask game, whatever you want to call it, we know that each of the characters that were released had a different approach to that game, right? The Bohrok were designed to basically smash and bash everything in their way, and this does something kind of similar. However, in this case here, it is more based on rhythm. This might sound strange at first, but it's all about the strategy of how these play rather than the attack itself, because the attack on its own definitely isn't as strong as a Bohrok's head smash attack, right? But if you use it with a decent amount of force quickly, it goes further, it goes faster, it goes harder. And if you can pair it several times over, you start getting more of like a headbutt out of it rather than the bite instead. So going with more of a frenzy in your mask attack, in your battle, whatever it may be, is actually going to lead to different types of battle, types of gameplay. And I really like that idea because it means that you can develop different strategies around identical builds, something you really couldn't do in the past with other Bionicle sets, right? Now, again, obviously, you can see that there are parts on here that did not exist in the early 2000s, like this piece here. This is just a shovel claw piece from LEGO Technic from like the 2010s, and in this case, it is just being used as a sort of pseudo windscreen to protect the Krana, because in this case, the Krana is on the belly. In reality, LEGO would absolutely make their own piece that would go here so that it would clip onto the Krana, and probably they would make it in such a way so that when hit from above or even maybe bit onto, it would automatically like pop open, like something would squeeze or something, and that would pop it open and release that Krana instead. Something to facilitate the function of this being a biting and headbutting function. And maybe also they would do something where it has a bit of a platform here, a bit of a step here so that when headbutt from above, when hit from above, it has a stronger likelihood of being knocked down and disengaging, again, releasing that Krana. On top of that, as you can see, this function, in order to allow for this to fit in place, I had to raise it up quite a bit, which meant adding the Bohrok teeth in, and it meant angling the head sort of upward. In my original build, that's not the case. That is not the method that I use, because it does not have a Krana at all. Another thing that I could definitely see LEGO doing is coming up with a slightly different variation of the windscreen, or coming up with a different variation of this headpiece here. The current headpiece that we have from the original Bohrok set works, but again, there are a lot of pieces around it to really make it work and make it shape up this head. LEGO very likely would create a singular piece up here, or maybe just two pieces up here, in order to make that work, meaning that the head would likely be made of one of these lift arms on one side that was a modified version of this, a jaw, a bottom jaw, right? And then a lift arm on the opposite side that is a mirror of that first, right? And in that regard, they could design it in such a way so that this windscreen could pop open backwards and that there could be a Krana on the inside up here, hidden. So those are absolutely options that they could do. And in that case, it would obviously leave the front of the model open instead, right? So instead, you'd be trying to grab at the front of the model. Obviously, in that case, if it opens up backwards, then a biting type function is not really going to be the type of function that's good against these, because you're going to be pulling away from it the wrong direction. But that's why it's a lot of fun to explore, to experiment, and to sort of take a look at things and see how they work in context with other sets. The Jawlok is something that I had a lot of fun designing. The original design has 15 Bohrok teeth on it because the feet have 3 Bohrok teeth each. The arms are basically an exact copy of the Bohrok arms because I wanted something that also reflected the Bohrok, and the Bohrok are kind of raptor chicken-like, right? And so I went with something like this. And I wanted something that looked and felt more imposing than an individual Bohrok, being larger, being about 2/3 or 3/4 the size of an original Toa, because we know that the Bohrok Kal in the story were singular characters. There were only one of each. Having these sets be army builder sets was really smart on LEGO's part because it incentivized you to get more than one. But we know that these are identical builds, so you're probably not going to enjoy getting more than one. However, having a sort of pseudo lottery in the sense of getting these Krana at random can help to encourage, to give you that last little push you might need when deciding, should I buy another brown Bohrok? Yeah, LEGO wants you to, of course you should, right? And so having these be army builder sets as a toy wasn't like a huge deal, right? We knew how strong these were in the Bionicle Mask Game. These were, just one of these would devastate like an entire team of Toa. But in the story, they make a lot more sense as an army builder set, because at the end of the day, we knew by this point that these were our heroes, these were our villains, and look at the size difference there. When kids see that size difference, they're not seeing a David versus Goliath thing. They are seeing big hero guy sees small enemy guy, big hero guy's gonna win, right? It's simple thought. And so having these be imposing by massing them in the story makes these feel a lot more dangerous than they even are as a toy like this. So I think that army building was the right thing to do for LEGO, both in the story and outside of the story. But of course, it didn't mean that you had to go and buy a billion of each copy if you wanted to. I have a literal bin full of Bohrok parts. I could probably build all that I wanted. But the point I wanted to make in this video is, why would I settle on another set of Bohrok but fancy silver when I could build something like this, when I could have something like this that feels different, feels unique, and still sort of reflect what came before and, you know, what could come in the future. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because again, you know it helps this channel out. It gets us that much closer to 3,000, so I'm not going to harp on it any more than that. But you can also click the notification bell if you want to see more content like this. And of course, as always, my links for Discord, Instagram, and Patreon are all in the description below. And down in the comments, let me know, would you prefer something like this over the Bohrok Kal? Or if not this, have you seen a mock that somebody else has created to replace the Bohrok Kal? And if so, which ones do you prefer? Well, you can take that conversation further over on Discord. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.